Okay, so we're going to pick it up from here. As you recall, we've now freed up all the layers of our floppy puzzle, and we have to put these little nuggets down into here. So, rule of thumb, just like we did with this guy over here, and the other one that looks kind of like it right over here. The complicated part about this is instead of just one center here, we've got a couple layers over here. So starting off with this. So the rule of thumb is still the same. I need all the little areas, the pieces here, to be of this color or the color just opposite that. So this has to be red or it has to be orange. Now, be warned, the process of doing this might start messing certain things up. It might start messing this up over here. It will certainly probably mess this up over here. Again, that's okay because we put these in cube style. We'll just get them back cuboid style once we get that. So this isn't going to work on this side, and this isn't going to work on this side. We could start off with maybe this center over here because I've got two that aren't going to work, and I've got one that isn't going to work over here, one that's not going to work here, one that's not going to work here. So why don't we do that? Because in the process of putting these in here, we can try to lift these out as well. I'm going to try to maintain the reduced parts as much as I can, but won't be my main priority. So what I'm going to do is, in the process of putting the blues and the greens here and here, I'm going to be lifting these guys out. So here's two to lift out. And I've got one here that can be used. I'm going to try to pair these guys up as much as possible. So, okay, this I want to move down to here. So I'm going to move this like so. Move this in like that and do the same cuboid strategy or center strategy. Move this here and back. So I'm attempting to maintain these as much as I can, even though it might be a little difficult. So I want to get this out, and to get this out, I'm just going to move an empty set in. So an empty set would be something like this. So we'll just move this over here, like so, moves it out of the way. Now I'm going to move this over here, double turn like thus, and now start moving things back. So it's the same strategy, and it manages to keep these in, pairs these two together. Not bad. Now for these two that are in, I can move these two out. And I want this one to be taken out. So I'm going to move an empty set next to this over here. So turn like so, turn, double turn, turn back, turn, turn, and turn. So I'm just manipulating layers so that I can isolate things. Because what that did is this put this opposite these two, and now I can pretty much do whatever I want. So move this over here so that these two can blast these two out. And in the meantime, I can put it in conjunction with this color over here, and it can go anywhere. Well, I can move this to here, but do I want to move this and blast all these three out? I think I may want to kind of protect that. But I do want to blast this one out over here. So why don't I move this to this side over here and double turn it like that. So now what will happen at the end of the day is that these two will come in and blast this out. This will come here and blast this one out. So I'm just going to move that in like so. Okay, upon doing that, what I've actually done is I've taken all of these colors out. I've taken all of the reds and oranges away from these colors over here. And now I'm not going to be able to fill all of these in yet until I take all of the greens and blues out of this. So there's two greens over here. So what I'm going to do now is, now that I have all of the oranges and yellows, oranges and reds rather, either here and here or here and here, and not trapped here, I'm actually going to switch gears and put all of these guys in. So I guess you can say the first thing I wanted to do was remove all of those that didn't belong in these centers, and I'm going to move them in over to here. Now, how am I going to do that? Well, I've got these up, so you might think, well, you're going to have to Red Bull to get them down, which I probably will have to do. So very quickly and succinctly, I'm going to move this in this direction here, move this over here, and let's just Red Bull these guys down. To R, to B, to U, L, to up, RI, to up, R, to up, to F, R, to F, LI, to B, 2R. So that's down, and now we're going to cause these two to come down. Let's see if there's a little glare here. Anyway, 2R, 2B, 2U, L, 2 up, RI, two up, R, I saw that, 2 up, 2F, good night, R, 2F, Li, 2B, 2R. Okay. So now we can set to work. You don't have to move these back here, but why not? Now we can set to work to putting all of the orange and reds where they're supposed to be. So that's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to first do is match up all the corners that I can. I want to start blasting these guys out. So let's match up oranges and reds together. So move this over here. I've got this red which can come into here. So turn it over here, which creates this. So I'm really just doing the same strategies that you see me do with the large cubes. I'm just variating it for the situation. Actually, it was the center one that came here and here. You never know when you might need a corner swap or whatever, but the concepts are the same if you just divide the cubes into its core structures. So this is okay over here. And now I'm going to see if I can't pair more of these together. I've got two edges and a center, so I can actually make another whole one if I wanted to. So here's a center here, and I'm going to do the same thing. This will come to meet over here. So turn, 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 and turn. Now, how about this edge over here? Why don't we blast this down here? And is this of the right structure to come into here? And the answer is, well, yeah, okay, there it is. Turn, turn. And this is the good thing about freeing up all these edges is I've got almost complete freedom. So what I have is 1x3 bars which can come into these sides over here. So let's move this on the other side. And by doing that technique, I've not taken out any of these edges at all. So move this here. And what my goal is to move everything that doesn't belong out. And in the process, being able to still pair up edges. So if I were to move this down here, I'm going to have these two that are out, which can coincide with this piece over here. So I'm going to be able to make another whole edge that way, which is pretty good. And then I've got these two empty sets here. So let's just blast these guys out over here, so we're good. Okay, now what I may want to do, if I can, is I've got these in here. I want to lift these two out, because if I lift these two out, it can coincide with pieces that are here. So I've got an end center, an end center, and a central center. So that can be on either side of that. I've got this here, and I've got this over here. So the trick here now is to move these guys out, and maybe I can move them out in conjunction with these edges over here. So turn this here and turn this here. Now the trick is going to be to do it to where I don't put anything else in. So I've got some empty sets over here, so I'm going to make a big move like this. So all I did is I just made empty sets that I'm going to put into here. Now, yeah, okay, so that's pretty good. So that's just how I'm working things out with this. I'm going to move this up over here, and I did not have to Red Bull anything. Instead, now I've got all the oranges and reds up here so that I can place into here. So here's a red edge over here. I'm going to put that in conjunction with this. Turn, 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 turn. Now I gotta admit something to you. The strategy that I'm using now, I have not used before. I kind of invented it as I'm doing it. It's really not much of an invention, but I started using it as I'm doing it. It just seems to make sense. But this is the first time I've done it quite like this, which is kind of fun. Turn, 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 and turn. Okay, this is here. This needs to coincide with this. So I'm going to find a way to make it work without destroying this over here. So turn this here, and this won't do it like that. Okay, so this is going to bump heads with this guy over here. So what I need to do is I need to put this kind of more at right angles to this. So I'm going to move this down, and then turn it, and move it back up. In so doing, what that does is that puts this no longer at odds with this guy over here. So now I'm free to go like turn, 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 bang, pow, splat, and there we go. So these three are in, these three are in. I can line it up here and put myself in a position of putting these in where these empty sets are, and splat. So now I've got these all in, basically. Okay, now it's a matter of doing the same thing with this. Now here's something I'm wondering. If I just move these edges here, maybe I can do a similar situation and not have to red bull things down. So this way, these two can move up, and this can move up, which just leaves this over here. So let's just move this down over here and see what we've got. Okay? And I'm just going to make myself a 1x3 center bar. Okay, it'll have to be the blue. So this will move here, turn, turn, and then get it all back. Turn and turn. This will come into here, but it's going to mess this one up. So why don't I move this here, move it out of the way, and move it back. Okay, are we happy? We're happy. So turn, 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 splat. Okay, so here's my 1x3 bars. So let's move this over here. Now notice I've not really taken these out at all. And now that I have my 1x3 bars, I could just put them into these empty sets. But I'm going to have a little bit of a problem because now I'm going to be stuck with this. So why don't I do this? Why don't I move one into an empty set and this one down? If I do that, these two will come out. And better yet, why don't I do this? This will come down and blast this one out, so I'll have three. This will come down, and in short, these two will coincide with this to maybe come into this empty set, and then I'll have this which will come into this empty set. So the whole time I'm trying to coordinate it to where I can move it in one fell swoop. I'm going to come in like this, and now I've got this one here. And I'll bring this up over here. Now it's probably going to behoove me to go ahead and red bull these down because it's going to get hard to coordinate. 2B, 2R. Okay, now that I've done that, I've got complete freedom to put this one in. Let's move this one out of the way so that it doesn't lock horns here. And now we can move this in. And I think we're going to have to do it like this. Move this down here. So I'm just trying to coordinate this to where it's going to come in. So it'll be right here. So turn this here. Turn. 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 Back. And front. Although I can leave this down here. So now we've got these guys coordinated here. Move it into this empty set. Move this directly across. I've got an empty set here. Move it down, and we've got it. So these are in. Now all I've got to do is red bull this both one more time. Okay, so this has been reduced, flattened. Time will only tell if we have any type of floppy parity in regards to this. Because once we have this now, it's a matter of just treating it like we did any of these giant cuboids over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, putting these edges in. But this will not display parity, this one just might. So let's move to this guy over here. So this is going to be the ultimate in center reduction. It's going to be the same kind of thing. We got a smattering of centers here, smattering of centers here. Now notice I was able to do this without getting all of these out. Doable. Anyway, this guy's going to be the same. So let's take a look what we have. We have 2 out here, none out over here, and these 2 are out over here. And we've got much more layers to go by. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these 2 are out, and these 2 are out. And that's pretty much it. So let's lift these out so that we can get everything that we want over to here. So turn, turn, and here. So this is the funnest part of it because unlike a 3x3, you can't do this by rote. You have to really prepare. You have to kind of have an idea of where you're going with this. Turn, zoom. So you can see this one appears to be moving just as smoothly as the others. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm going to be putting it into here, coordinating it so that I can blast these out. These 2 don't belong. These 2 don't belong. This is okay. Let's move this down across from here. And now I just go through the process of plink. Okay, so now all the reds and yellows are up here just like before. I'm going to be able to blast these guys out. So I'll just move it up, no need to Red Bull, and there it is over here. And I've still maintained my centers and my edges. So now it's just a matter of making as many 1 by 5 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 by 6 blocks, really? No, 1 by 4 blocks. Very cautiously I move this. And I've got these 2 here and these 2 here. Now sometimes it can come hard, sometimes it can come easy. You can see that some setups come in fairly easily like this, and some of them I had to do a little bit of turning and manipulating. But you're going to have all aspects of luck and planning. Turn, turn. Okay, so I've got 4 and I've got 4. And now that I've done that, let's move this over to here and see what we can do. What we're going to want to do is move out all the ones that don't belong. This and this. It's going to create a couple of empty sets, but that's okay. So double turn this here. So these guys are all going to take their rightful place. I might as well move it like this over to here. Okay, so now everything that needs to be put in is ready. I've got 2 empty sets. Well, almost 2 empty sets, but not quite. And 2R. The trick here is to not lose track of which layers you're moving. And I've done that before where I find myself 2R'ing the wrong 2R. Don't 2R the wrong 2R. Do the same thing here. And that's it. We don't have to do the 2R. Okay, so let's just start matching 1 by 4. I'll just do 1 at a time. This will come here, turn here. So this moves like so. Pow. Splat. Okay. Now I can go turn, turn, turn. Ultimately what I need to do is I need to blast this one out so that I can put it in the right place. So this comes down like, actually move it up over here like so. Okay. Now this has to match up with this over here, but I'm not going to be able to get to it. Unfortunately, I have to do another series of red bulls in order to do what I've got to do. Okay. Can this move into here? Is it of the nature where it can? Well, it's an equivalent piece to here, so I don't think so. I think we've gone about as far as we can. Yeah, so this and this will occupy the same place, and according to Pauli exclusion principle, you can't have 2 things of matter occupying the same place at the same time. But let's move these across from each other too. So turn this like so. So ultimately I would like this to end up over here. So how can I do that? Well, I can do that by maybe doing something of an adjacent edge swap. I just want these to come over to here. Well, let's see if it can work. Why not? 2R U, 2R U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Okay, and it did it. I hope you realize what I just did. What I wanted to do is I wanted to move these so that they're opposite each other. Well, as long as this was here, it was going to be hard to manipulate that, so I just did a tool. I did an algorithm. I defined these as edges. These four here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I did an adjacent edge swap. What it did is it swapped those two. I knew it was going to cause placement issues on these side, but we don't really care. We're not doing that right now. So that's exactly an example of what I mean by using algorithms as a tool. What you define as corners, what you define as edges, as collective or as single, you can change around as much as you want and apply algorithms as much as you want. So let's see if we can bear the fruits of that labor here. And we'll move this down like so. Oh, let's do this right, actually. Move this here and move this down like thus. Okay, now upon doing that, we just move this here and we move this here. And now we see what needs to be manipulated along here. Okay, now let's see if I can start moving some other pieces in. So I can move this in like so. Move it in like thus. And now very quickly get this back. Okay, so what was the end result of that? Well, the end result of that is I now have only empty sets over here, and I've got to get all these in. I've got these two, but maybe for now I can ignore this. Maybe I don't have to Red Bull this quite yet. Let's just start getting sides and see what we're able to do. Can I put one in here? And the answer is, well, I can. Yeah, I can. So, double turn, like so. Turn, double turn. Now I go through the process of getting it back. Turn, turn, and turn. Okay, so these are in. Now, while I'm on a roll, why don't I move this to here? Just kind of taking opportunities, as many as I can. Making sure it's lined up as good as well as possible. So turn, 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 bang, zoom. Okay. I like it. What about this one? Well, let's see. Let's move it down here, and I honestly don't know. So we'll see. Can this make it? This can make the journey to here, but will I be bandaged out of... Nope, I think I'll be okay. Turn, 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 pow, and what do you know about that? It worked. Okay, so I've got 1x4 bars, and the question is, can I coordinate it with these guys? Well, that's going to be a challenge. Well, let's move this down over here. Coordinate this to the proper centers. This needs to move opposite here, which I can do. Got it over here. Okay, this needs to come up here so that it's opposite that. However, here's what I can do. I want to coordinate these two together. I want this to come over here. So how am I going to do that? How am I going to get this over here? Well, you guessed it. Why don't I do an opposite edge swap? Call these four here an edge. Swap this to here. So that's going to be 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U. So what's fun about this is that I can use these same algorithms to move things around the way that I want. So now all these are fine. So all I got to do now is just move it down. Oop. Now I got to make sure that I'm coordinated with some empty sets here. So this will turn over here, and then we just bring it down, and we're good. So now all we have is one more Red Bull with these guys. And I can easily move these in place like so, and like thus. And then Red Bull it down. So we have them both perfectly flat. And now we've really converted this into a puzzle much like this, where we're going to try to get our edges together.